and welcome to the Bowen House Kitchen. This is the first video in our Great Historic Bake Off series. Today we will be making ice cream the Victorian way, complete with a pewter ice cream mold to make delectable little sculptures. So, all of the recipes that we're using in today's bake are on our blog, so for a write-up, please visit mindenhillsculturalcenter.blog. To make this recipe at home, you will need 2 cups of cream. I'm using 35%, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, the juice of 1 lemon, and 1 pound of strawberries crushed up, or your fruit of choice. So, this recipe is actually from Mrs. Marshall's Book of Ices, which was first published in 1885. And the 2 main ingredients of ice cream are really cream and a bit of sugar. And you want to use the high-fat cream. Mrs. Marshall's recipe actually calls for cream or custard. So you don't really want to go for like a skim milk option. If you do want a lower fat option, you'll need to add some kind of thickener. A recipe book that we have in the collection here, which dates back to 1899, recommends arrowroot as a thickener. So I've just added that little bit of sugar. Oops, that doesn't fit. My plan was to shake this up, so I will use a spoon and just get the sugar dissolved. There we go. So once you have the cream and sugar, you can add whatever flavors you like. This is your plain ice cream recipe, so you could just end there and call it a day. But we're going to add a little bit of fruit. The best thing about ice cream is that you can mix up the flavors and make anything you like. Any leftover desserts, anything you can imagine you can throw into an ice cream. And actually the best homemade ice cream I've ever had was lemon meringue pie ice cream. So they just took a bit of leftover lemon meringue pie, squashed it up, and put it in some ice cream, and it was delicious. So I'm juicing up the lemon here, which I'm going to throw into the strawberry mixture. Get the other half of that lemon as well. And the reason I went for strawberry flavoring, because it's a classic, is also because I happen to have this strawberry pewter mold. And I actually brought it in with me from home. I got it last summer because my great aunt Nancy was turning 90. And she actually remembers, to this day, when ice cream came in different molded shapes. So for her 90th birthday party, we actually managed to find somewhere that still makes ice cream molded into different shapes. Another thing that I want to mention is that it helps a lot if you chill all of your ingredients in advance. So these were sitting in the fridge. Okay. I'm going to mix this up in here, shake it about a bit, and then we're pretty much ready to go. The trick with ice cream is that you can't just use ice, you have to use ice with lots and lots of salt, which lowers the freezing point. So it keeps the ice nice and cool. So I have put a thin layer of crushed ice at the bottom and a thick layer of salt, and I'm just going to continue to add some ice around the sides. The container that I've used in the middle is just a coffee can. So apparently being metal does help. You'll notice that the ice doesn't actually touch the food. When Victorians used ice to cool their food, they didn't ever put ice cubes like in their drinks to cool them. It was always contained in something else because the ice might not have been super clean. Even back in the 1800s and before, there were issues in getting clean ice because of pollution in city centers. So places like Simcoe, Lake Simcoe, they would harvest ice in really large quantities. You know, I'm talking an ice block that weighs 300 pounds. They'd shave it, saw it out of the lake, and then put it on a train and send it to a city center where there were industrial ice houses. And it wasn't really until they had those trains and industrial centers that normal people could have ice during the summer, but people have been preserving ice throughout the summer months by burying it underground and insulating it with straw and that sort of thing for centuries. But as soon as these transportation links improved and restaurant industries sprouted in urban centers, everybody wanted ice, and that made it possible for normal people to have ice delivered to their homes for their mini little ice caves like this one. So I'm going to leave this now, add a little bit more salt, or a lot more salt, and then I'm going to leave it for a few minutes to really cool down. It's nice and cold in there. Hopefully it will be cold enough for us to get some ice cream done today. So I'm going to pour just a little bit in. I won't do the whole mixture right now. Pop that back. And I'm also going to add a good dose of food coloring, which was another one of Mrs. Marshall's tricks to create ice cream sculptures that looked like real fruit. So I'm going to put a big blob of food coloring in there. And then I've got my ice cream paddle, and I'm just going to stir it a little bit. And also rotate this coffee tin as I stir. Now, Mrs. Marshall was a very enterprising Victorian businesswoman. She didn't just write cookbooks about ice cream. She sold molds, she sold cooking apparatus, and she actually patented an ice cream maker that could apparently freeze ice cream in 5 minutes in the 80s. She also had a few tricks, hints for making ice cream. Too much sugar will prevent the ice from freezing properly. Sugar also decreases the freezing point. Too little sugar will cause the ice to freeze hard and rocky. So without sugar, you just end up with an ice cube that tastes a bit like milk. If the ices are to be molded, freeze them in the freezer to the consistency of a thick batter before putting them in the molds. Fruit ices will require to be colored according to the fruit. For harmless colors, see page 63. I'm guessing that means that she also sold fruit dyes. That's kind of the consistency you want. I think that would be a thick batter. So that worked out all right. So we've got our mold here. I'm going to fold it in half. And what they also would do is they would put a little bit of lard or shortening around the edge to create a seal. Because when you take it out of the mold, you dunk it in water. Now these molds came in all sorts of imaginative shapes. The weirdest ones I think were the vegetables, because you do need there to be sugar for the ice cream to have that creamy texture. So even if they had a mold for asparagus, tomatoes, that sort of thing, even if it looked like a savory vegetable, it was still sweet. And so it would be like pistachio flavored or something like that. There we go. Ready to freeze. Alright, it is time for the big reveal. Let's see if this ice cream mold worked. Now, before removing it from the mold, I'm just going to dunk it in some water for just a few seconds. Alright, hopefully that will help release the ice cream. Then we're opening it up. Whoop. And I'm just going to pry it out with a knife. 1, 2, and 3. Looks like they have gone a little bit soft, but that's okay. We'll put them right back in the freezer until they're ready to be served. Another trick, if you want to make your molded ice cream sculptures look extra realistic, is stick a little bit of the fruit from the real fruit on there. I've got a little toothpick here, and we'll just stick that bit of leaf right there. And now we've got our molded strawberry. Alright, let's go outside and enjoy this ice cream. Alright, time for a little ice cream feast. Definitely tastes like strawberry, very sweet as well, and delicious. So, I hope this video has inspired you guys to go out and whip up some wacky ice cream flavors at home. Let us know in the comments what kind of homemade ice cream you guys like to make or what your favorite flavors are. If you do have a recipe that you'd like to share, we have a new online community that you can add into yeah, let us know what you think. And thank you for joining us for the very first video in our Great Historic Bake-Off series. Our next video will be making a potato pie, a recipe from 1820. I'm a little bit wary of that one. I've never had a potato custard pie, so we'll see how that one goes. There will be a new video each week coming out on Mondays in July, and there's also a mini baking contest each week. There's a different theme each week. We're starting off with pie, moving on to cookies, then bread, then cake, and each week we'll start off with a video from the Barron House Kitchen, and we will be looking for photos of your home bakes on that theme. So please start sending in your photos of pies that you have baked at home. They could be pies that you baked recently or any time. Send in your photos by tagging us on Facebook or Instagram, emailing me at museum@mindenhills.ca, or you can go to our blog where there's an online form. So yeah, enjoy your Canada Day and stay tuned for more from